I think Riot just broke Jinx with these buffs, and so even so that we can see her win rate is not insanely high on different sites. Individual one tricks of people that mainly play Jinx do have actually a very high win rate on it, of course, and so why do I even say that she got broke, right? Why is she so broken right now? One thing you guys have to understand that we already seen it with our own eyes, of course. What does this new bonus attack speed on takedowns do? If some people don't know it exactly, I'm gonna show you guys exacts. Additionally, she gains a stack of Get Excited and is allowed to exceed attack speed cap for the same duration. Each stack grants her 25% total attack speed. Remember, not attack speed, total attack speed, right? So the cap is increased to 90.0, which means it's 90 attacks per second. Now, I seen in videos, Jinx did actually go up to like 30 attacks per second, but realistically, you're gonna get 5 or 8 attacks per second, depends. So why do I say this buff is a bit overpowered? The issue with this buff itself is that, okay, her passive got buffed, she gets insane amount of attack speed, she has insane amount of damage right now when she is taking down an inhib, tower, baron, what have you, kills, right? The other issue is she received 5 HP per level, so what does that even mean? For example, if I type 5x 18, you're gonna get 90 HP more, but if you're gonna type like 10, then of course it's 50 more HP. So what does that 50 extra more HP allow her to do? Mainly she'll survive with a bit more ease through some type of all-ins, right? Which is quite crucial for her to get this get excited passive effect, right? But the same thing about her ultimate, right? So with Super Mega Death Rocket, it's way more likely you're gonna get what? You're gonna get what? The get excited passive. So they really worked around her passive with all of these changes, so she's way more likely to get this get excited passive effect, right? Now the cooldown is decreased from one hand, the minimum damage is increased, while also they increase the bonus AD ratio, right? And so this means that generally it will be a bit easier to get a reset on Jinx. But in these days, when Jinx does get a reset and she has a proper comp, it often feels like that it's just an auto win if Jinx gets to scale with champions like Milio or Rel. If they don't have any form of hard engage or to get on top of Jinx, she is sort of a auto win later on. So that's why I said, like, right now I would even like highly recommend her, but I don't. I feel like this is a bit way too much in my own opinion, because like we already know that what she does when she's like eating those towers alive, and pretty much what happens when she gets one kill, then really easily she gets a second one. So right now it's way easier, of course, to get multi kills with Jinx. So I really felt like this is a bit too much for Jinx specifically, because look, right now she's a hyper carry in the late game, right? Now, if we compare it to other champions, right, such as Twitch or any other champions that are sort of scaling oriented a little bit, Zeri, right? Zeri is even more scaling oriented, or Kog'Maw, right? Another scaling oriented champion that's an AD carry. We'll see that Jinx's early game is not necessarily that awful, as they also buffed her E in the past, now that it knocks down, so people can't just like dash engage on her so easily as before. Which just ends up meaning that it's actually like kinda hard to punish her early due to her auto range, her safeness of CSing and the safety of her E. So it's not like she actually has, like, generally speaking, too big of a difficulties to scale into this hyper carry champion. So I think that's one of the issues, that right now it's a bit difficult to punish her early game, which is bigger of a necessity. So I think, like, probably there will be some type of fix patch, or if there won't be, like, I assume her early game needs to be nerfed from my honest opinion, because there are many other like scaling oriented champs, right? Such as maybe Kale, or many other champs that don't actually have like an okay early game, and they scale well, but their early game is not this okay. You know, like I always said, like Jinx is like an okay early game at most, with some exceptions of matchups. But at most, like Jinx is okay, and if she gets peeled, even those harder matchups that are supposed to be harder, she can get peeled off of those. So the support often can fix the issues that she'll have to face in the early game. So I'm pretty much just thinking like nerfing her early a little here and there, because I think she's just too much of an insane scaler at this point compared to like other champions that have to like suffer through their early game to get to the point where they're kind of like, yeah, now it's like we get to be useful because we suffered through early game. Maybe we are at the CS deficit, but that doesn't necessarily apply to Jinx. So I really feel like this is a bit too much to get excited at least. Like I think these are okay changes. HP could be an okay change. Ult, okay, I'm fine with that. But I think the get excited is a bit too broken right now, because once she gets a kill, it dictates a lot the outcome of a team fight. And if you have like champions that are setuppers, I just call them setuppers, like Lissandra, that allow her really easily to get excited reset, it could be arguably even stronger than a Katarina reset, right? That's just my opinion, of course. Like this reset is very, very strong because it like gives her a lot of attack speed, movement speed, and it sort of like further allows her to get even more. Now it's even similar in a way to Viego. Now I know as Viego you're gonna possess a different champion, but I would say it's a bit similar to that actually when it comes to multi kills, right? So I always said, like, I do suppose that this could be toned down a little bit, because I think in its current state it's a bit too strong. Because in comparison to other AD carries, they don't necessarily get to have this strong of a passive. Now I get it, her passive doesn't work until you don't get a kill, of course. But when you look at other AD carries, they just don't have the same thing. They actually don't have the same thing. They may have better laning phase oriented passives, but as I said, her early game is not that shit because her other abilities provide her extra range, pretty much extra safety in lane. So it's not like she has actually like sucking gas in early game just because her passive is not functional till she gets actually a kill. So I think this passive has to be nerfed, honestly. That's it for now, guys. I know this video is longer than it should be, but that's it for now, guys. Have a nice day.